Chris, welcome to the podcast. Guest number 1.
Well, it's exciting, Mark.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Right now, this is a podcast with no name. I'm playing around with the names. First name I had was, one of my monikers is Where is Dr. Mark? But I really wanted to be more about the guest than me, because I'm going to be on every one, so I want to focus on the guest. So we're going to call it the Where's Chris podcast. No, but I have a couple of other ideas, but I wanted to make it about transformation. Because it's about transformation, you are the perfect guest, because you have been through a major life transformation. I'll say a few words about your transformation that I know of and how we met, and then I'll turn it over to you so you can tell a few details. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. This is whatever the name of the podcast it is, sponsored by Coyote Dental, helping people save up to 70% on their dental care in Mexico for 10 years. Thousands of patients, millions of dollars saved. So we met at the Tucson, it's the Center for Consciousness Studies toward a Science of Consciousness.
Yes.
Here in Tucson, we're in Tucson, Arizona. It's about 100 degrees. We got a pool over there. We're going to jump in on the break. We met at this conference here, was it 2 years ago or so?
It was
roughly.
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's walking around with his beard was purple and mine was blue. And I'm like, what's up with you, man? You're stealing my thunder here. But we became like the colored beard brothers right away.
Yeah.
And shortly thereafter, or over a period of time, I heard about his transformation and how he went from being a vet. What branch were you in?
Army.
He was in the Army and had ballooned up to 400 pounds? 300 pounds. Oh, that's okay. I'm pumping you up a little bit. Literally. No. He went through a major transformation. It was a health challenge that he'll tell you about. He came through it. On the other side of the transformation, his life became about sharing that transformation with other people, and specifically vets. With that introduction, why don't you go and give the viewers a little bit more of a deeper dive into your transformation.
And thank you for the introduction. Thank you for being guest number 1. This is awesome. I'll go through the early parts really quick. Father was a Southern Baptist minister. We had a lot of religious trauma at the home. A lot of abuse sexually and mentally. So I didn't grow up knowing what a family was, what community was, or even what being a man meant. I had no clue. I learned that very early, probably around 13 or 14, I learned that alcohol numbed that. And so I'm an alcoholic by 15. Struggled through the rest of high school, which I didn't graduate. I found the military during my break between junior and senior year. They had an option back then. So I joined, and then I just dropped out of high school, stayed Army full-time. I went through the next 22 years as a military intelligence officer. I never missed a day's drinking.
Yes,
It's actually a very valuable lesson that I've brought forward. If you want something bad enough, no matter the circumstances, you're going to get it. In a combat zone in the middle of a country that doesn't allow alcohol, I was drinking every day. Years and years of combat, years and years of beats and bangs, physical struggles, broken back, shredded shoulders, a very normal military story. When I finally retired, I was at a complete loss of anything. It's a completely different world coming from the military to a civilian life.
Can you tell me go back a little bit, I'm curious about, you said you were in intelligence, and then how does intelligence seems like a spy to me, sort of, right? And it seems like you'd be a little bit away from the battle zone where you'd be getting blown up and torn up physically. Tell me a little bit about that.
So intelligence is at every part of the battlefield, and I was at every part of it.
So you were on the battlefield doing intelligence.
Yes,
Okay.
but not as a spy.
No.
Most of what we do as intelligence people, 99%, and I'm making up that number, but it's the majority, are reporters and car salesmen. We gather all of this information from every source we can, and we put it together, and we tell our boss what it means. That's all. And we want to tell him in such a convincing way that he's going to buy our story and take action on that story.
Because you're the first hand, you're the boots on the ground guy who's got the story.
Right. So that's all the intelligence field is. It's not as secret or spooky as people think it can be, but it gives a lot of damage mentally to a lot of people that don't understand what is happening while it's happening. You know, it's very easy to to target people from a remote vehicle because you're sitting in Virginia and targeting someone in the Middle East. Well, that takes a toll on people after a while. It's not a video game. And those are the unrecognized traumas that I was holding. Yeah.
Break that down. You see, you're talking about being on the battlefield, and you're also talking about drone kind of. So talk a little bit about that, because I kind of. So those, the people playing the quote unquote video games, which are not video games, they're going through their intense level of, what am I doing? What did I just do? I just killed somebody.
Absolutely. So in some ways, it's worse. I can wake up in the house this morning. I can go to work at X Air Force Base, where I sit in a trailer and I drive a drone in the Middle East, and I hit the fire button. I know a lot of lives were just ended there, and then I have to go home to my wife and family and try to live a normal life, and know I'm going to go do that again tomorrow morning. And I'm not expected to have trauma because I'm not on a battlefield.
And then to go home and kiss your wife on the cheek, or who your loved ones.
Right, your children.
Yes. Like you don't even want to be near somebody.
Right.
You want to go take a shower and rinse
drink,
it out.
And drink heavily, or another way to numb that pain. And unfortunately, the non-visible wounds are what causes most soldiers and most people in that situation to take the ultimate way out.
First time having to worry about saying things like that. So you don't want to say that word.
Correct. About 22 veterans a day become that word. So that's one of the big things that I'm fighting for now, that I've changed from that life into the life I'm living now. Going back to the transition out of the military, I didn't know what else to do, so I went right back into military contracting. I did the exact same job for the next 15 years. The only thing changed was my uniform. I continued to deploy, I continued to drink, I continued to really have no values in life.
And the paycheck was coming from the same place, only it was going through a second party.
It was.
Essentially.
It's all government money.
Yeah.
Somebody's the middleman, and since they didn't have to give benefits, I got paid a lot more. It's a very big incentive to stay in the military complex. And so it came to a point where I was living so far outside of what I knew to be right that I was poisoning myself. I was killing myself with the alcohol, with the activities. Driving under the influence was a normal thing. Voluntary homelessness more than once, because I didn't know how. I didn't even know there was a way to deal with all that stuff except for medicines. And I don't give medical advice, I'm not a doctor, but I started reading the side effects. And every medicine that I was taking, one of the leading side effects was that word. Ideations of that word or actuality of that word.
A little counterproductive. Duh.
Yeah, exactly. So take more.
I'm laughing. I don't know why I get this instinct to laugh, because it's so freaking horrible.
That's how we lived. Our food, our air, our land, we poison it. We put poison on our foods so that animals won't eat it, then we consume it. It makes no sense, but that's not what we're here for. It is, because that's not how I thought 6 years ago. I was fully bought into the consumer system. I had to have more, I had to have bigger, I had to have better. If you had one, I needed two. And it didn't matter who I stepped on to get there. We'll go to about 7 years ago when I really decided that I wanted to stop drinking alcohol, but had no clue how. I tried medication, I tried counseling, I even went to inpatient rehab for a month, but it was a demon. I had no control over it. And someone told me that I should try psychedelic medicine, natural psychedelics. And that wasn't my world. That was a hard no. That's drugs, it's poison.
It seems ironic
exactly.
that those words would come up.
Right.
Because
hippies use that stuff.
Hippies?
6 years ago.
You were not a hippie.
6 years ago, I was corporate. This story I'm telling, this part that's coming up is just the biggest blessing that I could ever imagine. At the time, it was the worst tragedy I could have ever imagined. The only thing I could consider to stop drinking was finally I got convinced after rehab didn't work to go to Mexico without my wife's knowledge. She thought we were just going down to buy a house. Found a guy that had a thing, and we ended up doing a ceremony with bufo, which is a toad venom from the Bufo alvarez toad.
Would that be 5-MeO DMT?
That would be 5-MeO DMT. Quick primer for those that don't know, it's extracted from a toad.
The Sonoran desert toad, which
The Sonoran desert toad.
you can find right here.
Which should, if extracted, be done healthily and safely for the toad as well.
Yes.
It's dried and then it's smoked. It's inhaled.
Vaporized and
Vaporized and inhaled.
Yeah.
For that journey, I was gone for about 27 minutes. Everyone's journey is different. A lot of them have similarities, but I'm not going to go into the details of it. But suffice it to say, I went into that journey addicted, filled with hate, and spiritually void. And this is emotional. In 27 minutes, I came back without any addictions. I came back with a very clear purpose in my life. And I came back with a plan on how to do that. And that was simply to help people, to show them that we aren't really broken and that there is a way to move forward. It also told me that we had just closed on it's a small house in Mexico, but we just closed and paid cash for this place. Almost everything we owned went into buying that. And as my wife now puts it, a frog told me that I couldn't live in Mexico, that I had to come back to Arizona where we had just left.
So you had just bought it,
Yeah.
and you had a message from above, or whatever, however you want to describe that, saying you couldn't do it or you were not supposed to do it.
That I shouldn't stay.
Shouldn't stay.
That it wasn't my home. And that my first step in my journey was to come right back, not just to Arizona, but to Sierra Vista, Arizona, where we had just sold our home. And my wife's a saint. She didn't ever even grumble. She just said, okay, what's next?
So tell me, was it obvious to her that 27 minutes, when did it become clear to her that the 27 minutes had changed your life so drastically?
It didn't change right away. A lot of people don't realize, addict or otherwise, especially alcoholic. I've never been an addict of narcotics. I can speak very professionally about alcohol. After enough time, you stop drinking, you don't get clarity. Your brain has been affected by so much alcohol over so much time that the clarity for me didn't start for another year till I could even think for myself. That's why the medicine gave me a blueprint, because I couldn't take care of myself. I didn't have the capacity to make real decisions. So I was given this blueprint on how to lead the life to get to this point I'm at right now. And my wife facilitated that journey by being my guide, my helper along the way. She was basically leading a blind man. And thank God we listened, because I came back to Arizona and I was in such poor health. I was on about, if I remember right, 18 meds twice a day, most of them for mental health. Also cholesterol, blood pressure, sleeping pills, waking up pills, pills for everything.
Your experience in that 27 minutes and how that communicated,
Right.
or what was her response, and
Right.
obviously in a close relationship, that person is going to know
Right.
that the other person is not the same anymore. Was it how clear was it?
Gotcha. She recognized it because I started making positive decisions,
Like what?
like not drinking.
Like right away?
Like right away. And when I told her the next day that I was done drinking, and she didn't know about the toad. I didn't tell her that for probably a year and a half.
Are you kidding?
I'm not. I was.
Whoa!
It was.
It's a whole different dynamic to
It
that.
was rare that I told the truth back then. That was the exception, not the rule. And so I just told her I had decided to change.
I did the toad about 4 years ago. I did it on New Year's Day, and it was a great experience for me. And I've had other transformational experiences, meditation and other I did ayahuasca in the jungle of Ecuador. But so the question is, like in a relationship, the one person has a dramatic transformation. It's clear that something is different, and I'm still curious, like. What was that like? You were used to lying about lots of stuff in your life, not telling the truth about feelings and stuff. That was kind of normal, but you had something really profound. What was that like, not quite being able to share, say, look, honey, my heart just got ripped open. I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth.
Sure.
But I mean, would that be accurate? You're in this, your heart just got ripped wide open and you don't know what's going on and you don't have anybody to talk to about that.
Initially, so I didn't believe in any of this at that point. I'm a king of the hippies now, so I believe in all of it. But at the point, I didn't believe in any of it. So when that happened, I didn't believe it. I wasn't sure what had happened. I just knew that I didn't want to drink anymore, so I didn't. This is not advised, but I stopped every one of those meds that day.
That's good advice to me.
Can
I tell you a quick story about my
yes.
friend Jim Campbell? His mom was on like 27 meds or something like that. And her dad, the dad had passed away, and she was by herself, and he just got fed up with the doctors, and he just took them all away from her and started doing gummies or something like that. And within a couple days, she was doing crossword puzzles, and she wanted to go to the casino. And she was debilitated, and he's not a doctor either. So okay, let's get back on the timeline. So. That was 6 years ago. You weren't able to bring your wife along truthfully at first, but eventually, how did that turn out? Tell me more about your relationship with your wife and how that opened up, and what her relationship is to the plant medicine and your ministry and stuff like that.
So I've got to finish another part of the story first, because that ties everything together.
Okay.
But no, I'll go back. When we met, my wife and I, it was our second marriage each. So we came in with baggage. We really became best friends in the beginning. We became good friends with the kids. We didn't have any together, but we have 5 between us. And that went along great for a number of years until my drinking got out of control. And then due to the activity, my actions, it began to fracture the entire family. And that fracture, it wasn't repaired until about 3 years ago, after I got on this journey. So it was, same old story. It was great. Then, a tragedy happened. It's the hero's journey. And now we're recovering from tragedy to go on to be something better. My wife is fully on board with the ministry. She's one of the board of directors. And she's fully on board with plant medicine. And 3 of my children, a couple of my children-in-law, my children's wives, participate as well. My son, unfortunately, followed in my footstep, lived a life of addiction, of trauma and of criminal behavior. The medicine got him off of that journey as well.
Congratulations to him and you.
Yeah, thank you. The opportunities are out there to excel, to do better, to live a really good life. So when we came back to Arizona, we didn't have any idea why or what was waiting for us here. We moved into a little apartment because we didn't have any money. We'd spend it all in Mexico. So since I was this big unhealthy guy, I had to get lab work done once every year. Something told me to go get the lab work early. I was probably about 3 or 4 months early, but I had nothing else to do. So I went, I got my lab work done, and I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, advanced, aggressive, and terminal. 6 years ago, I was given 1 year to live, 18 months if I took some experimental drugs that may or may not extend life. Diagnosis.
Yeah, I just came from a celebration of life a weekend before last of one of my very best friends, and he was diagnosed with lung cancer, and he had the same choice, and he went the route of meds and treatment, and it's not a happy ending.
When you get the decision to either go on meds or to find a different path, it's a tough choice. we kind of chose the middle path. I don't have any problem with Western medicine, but it's just a tool. You know, it's not the fix everything. The cancer was so aggressive. Oh, and by the way, the cancer was caused from burn pits in the Middle East. If you're a vet out there, get registered on the burn pit if you've been to the Middle East.
What is the burn pit?
In combat, you have no trash service. You have nowhere to get rid of old office furniture, or old beds or mattresses. So you dig a giant pit in the ground, you fill it with all your trash, you pour diesel fuel on it, and you burn it. When you have thousands and thousands of military members, that means thousands and thousands of pounds of trash. And it all gets burned in pits all around you, and you're breathing toxic fumes 24/7.
All the plastics and
The plastics, the industrial waste,
yeah.
literally everything. The fuel itself.
Yeah.
VA now has a list of, just for burn pits, of something around 48 or 52 presumptive illnesses caused by burn pits, that if you're a vet and you have that illness, it's automatically assumed that it was a burn pit injury. So we elected, since it was so aggressive, to take hormone therapy to stop my testosterone, because that's what prostate cancer eats. And then we did radiation therapy to kill the active cancer. The normal radiation for prostate cancer is about 8 to 12 treatments. I went to 73.
73? Like
73.
How often was it happening?
Every morning at 7:30 for 73 days. And as I would go through it, I was also on the healing journey. I had started taking supplements based on what I had studied for the plant medicines that I'd started believing in. I started studying meditation. I started studying therapy. And I went back to school to get certifications in all of those tools so I could kind of help myself through all these issues. As I started helping myself through these issues, I started feeling better. My relationship with my family started getting better. I stopped being an asshole. And
congratulations.
Yeah, you know, it was a pretty big step.
I'm glad I didn't know you. It was nice to meet you post-assholeness.
Right. Every day I was positive, more positive things started happening around me, as crazy as that may seem. As these guys would come in for, you know, day 8, 9, I remember the big guy had 18, and they get closer to the end of their treatments and they're down and they're dragging and they're just lethargic. And I'm on treatment 30, 40, 50, and every day I'm coming in, I'm happier, I'm dancing, I'm just filled with just joy. And they're like, oh, wait till you get to your second treatment, your third. I'm like, brother, you know, it's 50, it's 60, it's...
So why do you think, what was the contrast there?
It was a number of things. Number one, I found God again. And not the God in churches, not the God in the Bible even.
Or even up in the clouds with them.
Yeah. Not the big guy that looks like Zeus that sits on a throne of gold. How egotistical is that? But the real God that serves what heals us, that made us. I don't know what it is. Once we put a name to it, we lessen it. There's no concept of something that powerful, and that it can think about us and work with us and through us says something about the power of it and the power of us. I just started getting in touch with myself, who I was, what my values, beliefs, and really what my purpose was. Because it wasn't the military. You know, I don't despise that time. I don't regret it because I needed it to be here. I don't like it. We're not meant to take lives. It causes moral injuries, soul injuries. And a lot of folks don't have an outlet. They don't have a way to move forward. They don't trust the system in many cases, and justly so. So as I started getting better, I started reaching out and helping one or two people as I could. I'm by far not an expert. I didn't have success every time in the beginning, as none of us do. The difference is I didn't give up this time. You know, I remained consistent with my studies, with my beliefs, and with the belief that I can help others.
On that note
Yeah.
of helping others, let's take a little break.
Perfect.
Does this seem like a transition time
It
for
does.
you? Okay. So let's hear from, thank you again, it's been awesome, and we're going to continue right after a break from our sponsor. I'm our sponsor. I hate to break it to you. I'm Dr. Mark from Coyote Dental, and like I said earlier before the camera went on, we've been helping people save up to 70% on their dental care in Mexico for over 10 years now. We've got, I think, over 4,000 patients that we've served, and we've saved millions and millions of dollars. And it's a really easy process for you. Just go to coyotedental.com and sign up for a Coyote Concierge call to find out how we can help you at the border or at the beach. Now let's get in the pool. It's 100 degrees here. We're going to take a break. All right, here's to our little break. Wasn't that nice?
Man, did that feel good.
We are in Tucson, Arizona. It's 100 plus, we think, and we just jumped in the pool. It was a good place for a break because we kind of got to a point we got to the present. Like we went through the past, and now we're kind of looking at what's the future, what you've done recently in terms of your service to others and the structure of that, and your shirt here with the frog with all the legs, and so let's pick it up where we left off. Where we left off.
Where we left off is really where my story begins, and that's with that remission. I mean, I finally believed. I mean, how can't I believe?
Explain what you mean by remission, because we're kind of matching here with our.
So this is natural. This has nothing to do with cancer.
This is natural.
Yes.
Just has something to do with a razor and a little hair loss. Okay, go ahead. So remission. When you say remission, sometimes that means I'm in remission from cancer.
Yep. In my 7th month of treatment, I had been doing psilocybin regularly to help me with mental and spiritual movement forward. And there was one point when I knew I was healed. There was no cancer anymore. So plant/animal with the toads and others, but the natural medicines are exactly that. They're medicines. A lot of cultures, they're sacred, and I agree with that. We have different medicines for different ailments. That's part of what I've been learning over the past few years. And I was fortunate enough to have someone that knew about the medicines, that knew about their properties, that knew how they would interact with my journey, and started teaching me how to use the different medicines for different purposes. Psilocybin being the most standard that people know about. For myself and many others, we come up with our own regimen. There's some standard ones, 1 day on, 1 day off, 4 on, 4 off, but it's always important to do a few days on, a few days off.
And just for clarification, this is microdosing?
Microdosing, yes.
Your 27-minute experience was a trip, like you were
correct.
Gone, so to speak.
Yeah.
But microdosing is not that way. I'm just clarifying I know about
right.
this stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to just clarify it for the audience. So microdosing is a very small dose that you function normally throughout your day. You might feel a little bit of symptoms or sensations, what have you, but for the most part, no.
Correct. For the most part, you don't feel any overt symptomology from the medicines. You might feel, like you said, a little something, but you can function fully in daily life. There's should be no hallucinations, no altered states. What those microdoses are doing is they're helping repair the neuroplasticity of your brain and letting it create new pathways, so it gets out of that rut that your brain and your messaging has been stuck in. For me, that rut was, you have a problem, grab a bottle, grab a bottle. Well, that continued to help reinforce those new pathways of find another path. It's also, for me, a big difference in that none of these medicines are addictive. With the toad, after I did the one journey, it was a couple of years before I even had any interest in a second journey. It just wasn't there. With the mushrooms, same thing. They're taken as needed, and it may sound woo-woo, as a lot of people say, but they kind of tell you when not to or when to take
You know.
You know. You're guided if you
Yes.
allow it to happen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean chasing it. That means actually stopping to listen to your body, inside and outside, what our connection is, what the season is. Everything affects us. And so it's learning to talk to yourself, learning to understand what's happening. And when you start doing that, when I started doing that, I started paying attention to what different foods did to me, what different news channels, what different stories. All of those influences have a greater effect than most of us realize. Some of the worst, unfortunately, are the electronics. But that's the culture we're turning into. We're just teaching people to take a step back, use it as a tool as it's meant to. That was the regimen for me with the psilocybin. It had been long enough, maybe 6 or 8 months, that I was starting to understand more about what I needed and what I required. And then would do things like a body scan, wake up every morning, because I'm 100% disabled combat vet. So I've got a lot of creaks and a lot of bangs. So doing a body scan, how do I feel today from head to toe, inward to outward? Never comparing to anyone else except me. How do I feel compared to yesterday? Oh my gosh, this hurts more. So I got to pay attention to that. It made me slow down and get to know me. Once I got to know me, and it may sound selfish, and at times we need to be selfish, because I couldn't pour love into anyone else until I got it within myself.
You got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help somebody else.
Exactly.
So you're taking a lot of oxygen yourself, and what was when did the reflection, or I know you shifted to helping, or not shifted, but you began turning the knowledge you had gained towards others and helping others on their path. So talk a little bit about that and when that happened, or did it happen gradually as you were healing yourself, you started healing others, helping others? It
started while I was taking the medicines. After I had started treatment, I had started going back to class as a hypnotherapist, of all things, because I wanted to learn how to hypnotize myself, how to, stop drinking, stop eating crappy food. Something that I was adept at, not egotistical. It came naturally to me.
Which part? The food part, or the
hypnosis?
Oh, the hypnosis.
Yeah. Think of it as guided meditation.
Okay.
And I give it credit to the military, because I was a storyteller, a used car salesman. It was what I did, so it kind of came naturally.
So you're telling stories to yourself, sort of? Is that what you mean by?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We do it every day.
Yeah. We're always talking to ourselves. We're always having, also different parts are communicating with each other. Yeah.
Where do I want to go to lunch? I don't know. Oh, do I want a burger? No, I want a taco. Okay, let's go get a taco. And that was just me. Everything around us is a story. We can make it a good story or a bad story. And one of the greatest gifts that our Creator gave to us is the ability to make that story whatever we want it to be. Any day we want it to be. I can wake up tomorrow and be a really grouchy a-hole. Or I could just be this guy. It's my choice. So it's all stories. I just decided to start telling myself and others a happier story. Just before I went into remission, I got hired as a corporate health coach, using hypnosis and the other tools I learned as a way to start giving back to others. Now, I needed to learn how to run a business. I needed to learn how to be a team member.
And a team leader?
The leader part I thought I understood, but that's a good point, because I didn't have any clue.
Being a leader in the Army is not quite the same as being a leader on the outside, is it?
It should be.
I'm only imagining. I don't know.
Right. It should be, and for good leaders, it is. There's too many of us that think we were good leaders, but we just had power. Not that we see that anywhere today. I started learning to help others by just talking to them. And one of the biggest things that came out of that is most of talking to them meant shut the hell up and listen to them.
Leading is listening.
Leading is following too, sometimes. It's learning the strengths of yourself and others.
I like that phrase, leading is listening. Have you ever heard that before, or did I just make it up?
I don't. I've never heard it before.
I'm writing it down.
It's also recorded.
Go ahead, I'm going to write it down anyway.
And
Self-hypnosis to helping others with hypnosis, is that right?
Formed a business around it. And it was relatively lucrative, but once it started being lucrative, it stopped being fulfilling. So we started just figuring out ways to help vets without charging them. You know, no fee for their services. And how do we do that? Well, turns out you just do it. You don't ask permission. I'm a retired guy. I make my rules. It's my story. We started reaching out and helping vets here and there. The more I would help the vets, the more I would learn, and it got fun. Learning those new tools that also help others. It's just this big waterfall. As I started doing that, my family started coming closer together. I have a military family. I have a disabled Marine son, and I have a son-in-law that's an Air Force vet. They started looking for ways that they could help us as well. It really does turn into a pay-it-forward situation. The more people we help. It still wasn't scratching the itch on getting people the help that I thought they really needed, the help that I got. You know, I'm a certified therapist, not a licensed therapist, so I have a lot of limitations. I have always been religious. I've always studied religion and culture, mostly so I could prove them wrong. And in trying to prove them wrong, I just learned a lot. You know, I had the minister family history. So the more I studied, the more I realized that, you know, that's really what I wanted to do, is start ministering to people. Not religion, though. I don't accept organized religion as my path. It's the path for a lot of people, but not me. So I got ordained as a spiritual minister. The sole intent of that is to be, I guess you could say, a beacon, to show others that there's a different way, another path. And so in finding, you know, this purpose, we applied and were accepted federally to administer psychedelic medication, psychedelic medicine. Tucson is probably one of the few places that I think this would have been successful. Arizona is amazing, but Tucson is special. I was brought back here for a reason. With the ministry, we team up with other local nonprofits.
I lost you there. You said
Yeah.
it could have been successful or would have been successful.
I don't think it would have been successful somewhere else.
Okay, I got it.
I don't think it would have been successful. I don't, you know, and it doesn't matter. I wasn't led anywhere else. I was brought here to do this for a reason. Now we team up with other nonprofits to take veterans to healing retreats, one of about 12 different medicines. And we have the retreats that are 1 day or 2 weeks and anything in between. And they're in 4 different countries. You know, it just depends on what the person's looking for. Most of the retreats revolve around the Siri culture, which is Indian tribe down in Sonora, Mexico.
Siri. Can you give, not that Siri, no.
Not that Siri.
The Siri Indians?
The Siri Indian
okay.
tribe, the Siri natives down in Sonora.
Yeah, San Carlos and Guaymas area, yeah. Well, my family, we used to camp and hike. My dad was really into that culture. Yeah.
It's a reservation that we support down there. And, you know, if you think American reservations are unsupportive, try visiting a Mexican reservation. We use them as our guides, and we pay them the same as we would an American guide. We continue to just help them so that they're not exploited by anyone. There's no need for exploitation because they get paid what we get paid. No difference. So we support them through the retreats in Sonora. Here in Tucson, we have several LLCs that are geared up helping vets in the community. But really what this has led me and my family to is we work with VA now, not for them, getting vets the help they need that a lot of times is hard for them to understand.
It's not an easy system to get into. It's not an easy system to follow. It's not an easy system to file for your disabilities with. So that's what we do now for the most part, is help people find and gain their benefits for the military. And we don't limit it to the service member. It's their family, it's their children, it's their neighbor.
Their extended community.
It's our communities helping one another. That's kind of where we came from and where we're at right now.
And tell me, I know you're in the process of moving. How does that tie into what's going on?
So we're moving.
You're selling your place in Playa del Carmen.
Right.
If anybody wants to buy a nice what is it?
2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's a 15-minute walk from the beach, Playa del Carmen, Mexico, on the southern border, across from Cozumel, the cruise port. It's a 1-bed, 2-bath house, private pool, biggest yard in the community. It's a private gated community. It's beautiful, and it went on the market yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So it'll probably go on contract before I even get there on Sunday. Everyone's welcome to check and see if it's
All
still
right,
there.
Cool. And we'll put some notes in wherever is appropriate for them to find you and find that. Yeah. And so tell me about what's going to happen in your new location.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the ministry can function anywhere. It's federally legal for us, so we do have state laws and guidelines to work around, especially in the south where we're going, in the southeast Tennessee area, near Chattanooga.
And you have family ties there?
No, we have no ties there.
Oh, wow. So what is the attraction to that particular? Is it the
Our
license?
oldest daughter thinks she's going to get accepted for grad school in either Macon, Georgia, or Knoxville, Tennessee. Whichever she gets, we're right in the middle at Chattanooga.
Oh, nice.
We get out of this temperature. We have water on our
What, you
property.
don't like the dipping in the pool?
Oh, I love it. I love this. I also love green and running streams on my property.
For sure.
The ministry will maintain a foothold here in Tucson. We have people already lined up to take over what I do here. And we'll form another chapter in Tennessee. We've already got our plans drawn up for a small retreat center that we're going to use the money from the Mexico House to build the retreat center. So within a year, we'll have a much bigger facility as our primary, and Tucson will be our secondary.
And how you have your license as a spiritual minister,
I
and
am.
you have like a corporation for some of
I do.
the entities that.
We have several corporations that'll continue to.
Depending
These
on-
days, it's the way to go. Incorporate everything. Get your personal business or personal property off the books. Maintain trusts. Use the law for you instead of staying ignorant of it. And ignorant, not a derogatory term. It's just not knowing it.
And how will you be reaching out to clients there, or is that pretty? It's pretty easy as to throw a rock in the air and you hit someone.
There are a number of ways. We want to be near Chattanooga because it's a big medical headquarters, a big medical center. It's also the headquarters for my wife's company that she works for. So should she want to continue working, she has the opportunity to do so at the corporate headquarters. It's also 2026. There's communication everywhere. Most of my clients don't live in Arizona. They live either in another state or another country.
So you do a lot of stuff by telecommunications, what have you, and then for retreats, people travel for events.
They either travel to us or we'll travel to them, depending on where it is and how many people are on the other end. We're happy to travel. Everyone that does the travel has passports, and we travel with the medicine on us without any worries, even overseas. It goes with me everywhere. So there's plenty of options for reaching out, and everyone doesn't need the medicines. Everyone doesn't need psychedelics. Some people just need someone to talk to, someone that's been through it, someone that cares and never touches psychedelics. We have plenty of people that do that. My wife has never done and never will do a psychedelic. It's not her thing. It's not mandatory. It's not even pushed. It's just if it's called, then we answer.
And how do people reach out and find you?
We don't advertise. We don't. We are word of mouth. people know people, and they reach out to us.
This is going to go on the internet.
That's right.
So that's
Oh, absolutely. They'll find me.
okay.
You can get a hold of me anytime.
So
We had the full website, business suite, we had that, and because of where we live, we had some really negative interest. We had threats made against us. We had violence proposed against our families, and so we stopped advertising.
huh?
Cartel violence is a real thing. It's not a big issue until you start bringing in an income. And then it becomes an issue, and that's not what we're about. So you can reach me at killingsworthchris@yahoo.com. You can put that out, and anyone can reach me there for any reason.
All right, that's great. We can do that. Well, thank you. I guess this seems like a good place to stop and make another dip in the pool.
All righty. Mark,
I love you, brother.
love you. Thank you very much. Appreciate being number one.
Yes, and I really appreciate the emotion. That's what matters in life, you know? That's what touches people's hearts.
Real men cry.
Yeah.
You know, and don't have to apologize for it, just have to get through it.
And thank you, Emilio, behind the camera. We did it. Number one. We're
Thank you,
all
sir.
number one.